and Legendary Pictures. Greg, this is the Hollywood Reporter, which means it must be true. Hasbro Entertainment is conjuring up a universe based on this Magic the Gathering game. The toy company is teaming with Legendary Entertainment to develop a shared Magic the Gathering universe that it says will span film and TV. The first order of business is adapting the game as a movie. Magic the Gathering, the movie, Greg. Are you seated? Day one,
I mean,
Thursday
like,
night, 6 p.m.
it definitely lays itself well to that kind of thing. I'm a little worried because the world is so bombastic, like having, because it's one of those things where you have all these characters. There are characters, there is lore, there are worlds, there are all dimensions, like everything. There's like all this crazy lore you can pull from, but it's also like this super bombastic world that I think can be very hard to establish. D&D has
There's
had
like
this
a million
problem.
kingdoms and characters and families and thousands of
Right.
years of
Right.
everything. It's a lot.
D&D's had this problem for decades, even with the terrible 90s one and then with the live action one that was okay, but like it's you have all this when you're dealing with magic when people can do these incredible things, like having to understand this is a world
Honestly.
and things happen in it like a regular world is very difficult to swallow. It takes a bit of tact and a bit of writing to be like, this is how it works, because if you can create things out of midair like gold and water and stuff, why would you ever work? Why does anyone work? Right? Well, then you have to go into other intricacies, but I think you got to do it very tactfully, right? If everyone's throwing fireballs at each other, you lose that kind of stuff. But if they focus on the right people, so I'm trying to find your article because I thought I had it. I did not see it when I.
Oh, I don't think wait. I didn't write an article about this. This one, but we have a link to it in
Did I
the.
see it? That's what I was trying to find.
Oh yeah.
I found an older one.
Um,
No, it lends itself. It lends itself well. It lends itself well
Yeah.
to television. I think specifically,
Mhm.
the shared universe thing is a trend. I don't think it's ever going away. But I think there are certain
People
things
love
that
it. I mean,
cater
you know,
well
it is.
to it. Right, there are certain things that can work that way. Right, I mean, leading it with a TV movie, I think is weird. I think usually you'd want to start as a TV, then do a movie, but I guess that's the old way of doing it, right? And like Firefly, you do the TV, then the movie, right? You don't really do it the other
Mhm.
way around.
Well, we're talking the show about how a lot of like franchise was a movie first and then became a TV show. Like I think it was Buffy. You said was one. It was like a movie. Then they made it a show.
Yeah, another failed movie that became a TV show, then Firefly, a
No.
failed series that became a movie. That's funny. Most Josh Whedon
Yeah.
things. There's a
But I
pattern
guess-
here.
I guess the difference with this is that they're going into it with that plan, right? It's not like, oh, they made the movie and it sucked and now they're going to just do a TV show. Like their plan is like, we're going to do a movie, we're going to do a show. And with the way that these companies spend on TV shows now, Greg, they're no difference between them and a movie other than the runtime is that a TV show is much longer in the end. But visually, they're pretty much on par these days. How much do you want to bet that the Magic the Gathering movie is going to come out and you're going to have all these crazy, fantastical characters, the beloved cards and locations, and the main character is going to be a brand new original character for the movie, and it's going to be like James, the squire of the kingdom, and then he'll meet like all the beloved like sorcerers and whatnot, and they'll do like you'll get all the beloved characters, but none of them will be the protagonist. The protagonist will be a new audience surrogate self-insert like everyman. Yeah, if I could bet money on that right now, I would, because that's 100%
I
gonna
mean,
happen.
I mean, the thing is, you need that human transition, right? Someone needs to be exploring this world. Like, that's why movies with like Mario, right, or the original Beetlejuice, like you're exploring that world through a normal person's viewpoint, right? So you're along with the journey, which is why so many people relate to those movies. Like, you're seeing everything for the first time as well as this character. You can throw somebody in there that is already experienced, but it's a little weird, and there's so much history here. Like, where the hell do you start? Like, I mean, I'm not versed in Magic the Gathering lore, and I think a lot of people who play the game incessantly are more concerned with like meta than they are story. Like, with but that's like Lilith.
Yeah.
She's a planeswalker. She's like the goddess of death or whatever. She's a planeswalker, just really powerful wizards. And then there's also multiple dimensions, right? There's like in D&D, how people usually play in Forgotten Realms. It's like the go-to place. It's the Renaissance of fantasy, but there's also the Gothic version. There's also the steampunk version. There's also the futuristic version. So there's all these different worlds they can pull from. Like, I don't even know where you start, right? But the world building at this point is so crucial because you got to get people to accept this is how the world works. There's magic. There's crazy things that happen. Like, how do you get, the origin story and how everything works? That world building is like essential. If you fail there, I feel like the whole thing just falls apart.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for the shared universe aspect of it, Well, yes, I know I get, you groan when you hear like movie
Yeah.
and TV shared universe thing. But I think that what could be interesting about this, I don't know if when they say shared universe, they mean like an MCU or Star Wars thing, right? Where like every movie has like somebody from the other movie or like, there's always crossover. Because like you said, this is lore that spans not only vast locations that are far apart from each other, but also like different like eras in history and time. You could do, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna completely like make shit up because I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but you could have a movie that's about like the knights in the royal army in the Northern Kingdom in the year, 20 or the year 1011, and then the TV show is following a pirate in the I don't know the Evil Bones Ocean in the southern region of the world 500 years before, or maybe you're exploring the people who got banished to hell during this crazy war. You could do stories that almost feel like they're completely unrelated to each other just because the world is so vast and has so much lore. Now, will they do that? I don't know, because I mean, I guess the truth of the matter is you don't do a shared universe unless you plan on there being some sort of crossover or like finger pointing or referencing. But I don't know. I feel like there's probably a lot of source material there for them to like still make it feel fresh and varied if they wanted to.
Yeah, I feel like if you take like the road trip aspect to it or the small team aspect to it, where I mean, and they can be new characters, right? But you don't have it centered around a planeswalker, right? Or a character. They're in the world, sure. They're in the world, they exist, but like that they're not who the focus is. Right? I always felt like a 40K movie, which they are doing, would work well if you're not a space marine, right? You're not a space marine, you're not part of the military, you're a small like a mercenary outlet with a bunch of new characters. Maybe one of them is an ex-space marine or something, right? And then those characters, you explore their characters back. And Mass Effect does it beautifully. Star Trek does it beautifully. The showrunner is the showrunner on Picard. Whether you like Picard or not, like that's like they understand teams and characters and dynamics, skills. Like, and like if it's a team movie, a team like squad based mercenary going, like I said, a group of pirate mercenaries, 5 ensues. I think it could work. And that's a case. It could be new characters. I would